So I watched Furiosa the other day, and I'd say I was right as always. This is the best movie of the year so far. This is based entirely on my first reaction, so maybe I missed some stuff, but I'd say the movie is pretty fucking good. And it's one of the best theater experiences that I can remember. The sound was fucking great, it looked great, so it's worth checking out in the theater if you have the time and don't mind coughing up like 30 odd dollars. You know what I like is blockbuster movies that are fun, like they used to be, but are also well made with time being put into them, something being made with a little bit of passion in it. And this, of course, comes from the directing prowess of George Miller, who can spend 78 days just to get a 15-minute action sequence right. That's the kind of thing I would like to see more of, people actually doing stunts and not going immediately looking for the cheapest way and easiest way of doing something just for the fuck of it. Like all of these Marvel movies can just get pumped out every year. This movie actually has one of the Avengers in it, Chris Hemsworth, and I think this is one of his best performances. The first thing you'll notice, though, when you see him is that big fucking goofy looking nose. Even better, though, is that he doesn't have any fucking nipples, so that was cool. I think that makes up for any issues I have with the movie. And surprisingly, Anna Taylor-Joy playing Furiosa doesn't show up until like halfway through the movie. She played the role well, but the other actress who played her, Alila Brown, played her for almost as long. So she's just as much Furiosa as Anna Taylor-Joy is, so she deserves her credit as well. It's weird though that she's supposedly untouched by the wasteland, and yet the distance between her eyes is further apart than the wasteland itself, so she's not much better than the mutant, retard, half-aborted people that are roaming around in this world. That's pretty crazy, but besides all that, this movie has got its action and some dark scenes that you'd expect from Mad Max. It doesn't focus on its brutality, but it doesn't shy away from it either. There's at least 3 or 4 times in the movie where someone gets completely fucked up. I really like how the story is told as if it's a retelling, told in chapters, which makes it feel like an old, wasteland wise tale, which to me made the ending even better. You'd get what you would assume is the concrete ending, but you can't be certain as to whether that's how it all went or not. The ending that we do get is fucking crazy, like some Fallout type shit. If you played Fallout 3, you know what I mean. There's a couple of small issues though, since they focused the story entirely on Furiosa. I don't think they showed some of the things that I thought they would, but they sort of explained that in the last movie. But the destruction of one of the places I thought they would have shown, in some way at least. So that was kind of disappointing. And another part that they didn't show, I don't want to spoil this, but a character escapes pretty easily after being chased. And they skip a bunch of time, so we never really see how important this would have been to one of the characters. I'm being vague, so I hope if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It's that time traveling hair scene. But besides those things, I don't really have any other issues. Was the movie necessary? Probably not, but it's still one of the best prequels I've seen in a while. Not that that's saying much, I know, but still. And it's a new way to introduce yourself to the franchise if you've never seen one of these movies. It would definitely have a different feel if you watched this one first and then Fury Road. You'd probably be wondering how Furiosa's eyes managed to come back together, and you'd be mad that they never explained this, and then you'd be watching the original 3 thinking, okay, what's beyond Thunderdome? Is it Anna Taylor-Joy's eyes? Is that her dome? Are they ever going to explain this? This is the biggest mystery in the fucking series. I've seen that people are mad about this movie, most haven't seen it, but here's what they're complaining about. Firstly, it's the CGI, but the movie's action sequences were practical, interior shots were filmed indoors, and I think they might have used green screens for some individual shots of the characters, so it's done exactly how they did it in Fury Road, from what I understand. In fact, claiming that Fury Road was entirely practical or didn't use digital effects throughout is a misconception. This movie and Fury Road used significant amounts of digital effects in combination with practical effects, which creates that crisp look, but it still looks gritty and realistic. So I think what people actually don't like is how they did the color grading, because it's saturated to the point that it can come off as cartoony, though I'd say it looks better on film than it did in the trailer. But if you can get past the digital effects in Fury Road, then you can get past them here. In fact, I thought that Fury Road looked too crisp when I first saw it. So I don't really think it affects the movie, it's just a preference. I'd love to see a Mad Max movie or any other post-apocalyptic movie that's filmed and looks like an old Mad Max movie, but we didn't get that with Fury Road, so I don't really get what the complaints are here. Plus, it's about a chick, so it's automatically bad to some, even though none of the complaints associated with that really apply here, because we never really see her throwing around giant men or being good at things that you think she shouldn't really be. Instead, she relies on weapons she clearly has the training for because of where she came from. So it's not some girl boss bullshit, but explaining that to some people just isn't enough. But if you want to compare the two of these movies, they're both epics, they both give you something different. Fury Road is a huge action flick that has great pacing and feels grounded, probably because the movie is set almost entirely in and around a truck, which is both literally and figuratively driving the plot. Whereas this movie tells a story of a character that goes through a lot of different locations and it's set over multiple years. So it's not as grounded and the pacing is worse, and it's not as much of an action movie as Fury Road was, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I'd say when you do get action sequences, they're pretty good. Maybe not as good as Fury Road, but that isn't the focus. The story is more the focus here. It's more of a drama than it is an action movie, which I feel like is what the original movies were anyway. I like the visual storytelling of Fury Road. It makes it a pretty unique action movie, but I like this more traditional way of storytelling as well. So I think when it comes to its story, I think I prefer this movie, but the action wasn't as good as it was in Fury Road, and the pacing does make it less grounded of a movie, like I said before. So Fury Road is probably still the better movie, but the problem is that because it's following Fury Road, that means that everyone is going to naturally do this. They're going to compare the two and come back thinking that Fury Road is the better movie, and that's fine, but I don't think that that reflects on the quality of this movie. So I thought it was great, but that's just me. What do you guys think?